You're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins, a Prospects Live podcast for everything MLB Draft related. Join us as we discuss the biggest stories from college and high school baseball, bring you interviews from your favorite draft prospects, and break down live looks with Prospects Live analysis across the nation. Get ready, because you're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins.
All righty, welcome to another episode of On the Clock by Prospects Live. I'm Jared Perkins. That's Tyler Jennings. We got Brian Recca with us today, our senior draft evaluator at Prospects Live. We got some top 200 boards to go over. But first of all, Tyler, how are you doing?
I didn't take my crazy pills today. So.
Nice. Love it. Recca, how are you doing today?
Not bad. It's a little rainy up here, but hopefully it clears up for the weekend.
Where is it not rainy in the United States right now? Let's be real
everywhere.
here.
Games getting canceled left and right. Gotta love it. But the big topic that we're going to talk about, we usually do kind of a recap of the last college baseball season, but we have our top 200 board coming out soon. Tyler, you want me to turn over to you for that?
Yeah, sure. So as of right now, we're just finalizing the last touches here. We're recording on Wednesday, so we'll have this submitted tonight and probably either out like Thursday or Friday for the masses. Really excited to kind of dive into this. This has been a lot of like live looks and bouncing off each other. I think, what was it? We said 190 about 500 million different times, Recca, in the first call that we did for this. There's a lot of difficult cuts to make. There's some guys I'm sure I'm going to get some crap for that missed a board, but that's just the name of the game now. It's like you have a set number to go for, and if you don't make the cut, hey, don't sweat it. Just prove us wrong, you know? But yeah, definitely, if we had taken a shot for every single time we said 190 that night, I'm pretty sure all three of us, it was me, you, and Patrick Bauer, we all probably would have been in the hospital for alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, and our board would look very, very messed up probably as well, because from all the induced mistakes I'm sure we would have made.
Oh my god.
So who's the biggest jump for you guys in terms of the ranks?
I want to say the biggest jumper, at least like making the judgment, like Aiden Major from West Virginia is a guy that's really jumped up our board a little bit. Chris Lavonis is another guy that's jumped up. And Lavonis is your guy, Recca, so I'll let you talk about him, but I'll talk Aiden Major first. Like, yes, he's undersized. He's like 5'11", 200, pretty stocky, not a ton of projection, but came out to start the year really, really good. I remember he threw 7 innings, I think shutout ball against Charlotte back in the second weekend of the season with 9 strikeouts. Fastball is really good with a bunch of carry. Changeups really turned into an above average to plus pitch. Even the sweepy sliders looked really good too, and he's kind of ringing in that command a bit. So that was kind of the biggest knock on him, and now he's doing that. So I think he's jumped up from kind of like obscure like 180 to 190 into like this is a somewhere in the 40s to 50s kind of guy. At least that's where we have him. We're probably going to be higher on him than most, but I love a guy that's going to be able to throw advanced secondaries with command, and it also is going to miss bats at the same time. So that's where I'm at with him. So Lavonis, Recca, go for it. I know this is your dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody where, he's going to be in the 40s for us now. He's somebody that, we talked about Tyler preseason where it's like, yeah, I see some really good elements here, but he kind of he was in a big batch of other high school righties at that time, and lucky enough he pitched at the PBR Super 60 and was phenomenal. He was touching the upper 90s, throwing 5 pitches. All of them were looking like potential weapons in the next level. And he's made some appearances since then, and it's for the most part carried over. Great athlete, room to grow, and I think I'm going to be able to see him the first week of April. That's when high school ball starts up here. So about a week or so from now, and we'll see how it looks over a full outing. But for now, I mean that's clearly one of the biggest risers on the board because he wasn't really someone we were even considering preseason.
Yeah, love it. What about some biggest fallers for you all?
Josh Hartle, please enter the room. This isn't the kind of like crap on the kid, essentially, for lack of better terms, because I'm trying to keep it PG here. But Hartle's kind of really struggled, and it's not the fact that he's not commanding his pitches well, because he's still commanding them well. It's not plus, it's maybe average at this point with command, but he's getting lit up and he's throwing too many strikes, and not really elevating. He's staying at the bottom of the zone. And I wrote about it when I saw him against Duke to open ACC play. He's leaving it over the middle of the plate, low in the zone. And some of the stuff's kind of running into the barrels of the bat. So, like, I remember he threw the cutter a little bit. And last year, the cutter was dynamic. I mean, we're talking like above average. You could maybe put a plus on it depending on how well he threw it on a certain day. Now it's kind of nothing more than like fringe average to average, kind of running into barrels, into righties. Didn't really look all that great. And like he's still 89, 92. Velocity really hasn't jumped up. He's not missing bats. You kind of wonder how much more can you project on that kind of profile, considering where he's coming from. Because Wake Forest pitching development team is one of the best in the business.
Yeah.
Now, how that correlates to a professional team development program, I would say it's pretty close. So that's kind of where you leave the question of like, how much more can we get out of this kind of profile? If he's sitting like 91, 94 and can bump 5s and 6s, I see there's more value here. But really, it's like, can you go higher than a 45 on the fastball? Probably not. Cutter's not looking all that great. Changeup, I can't figure out where it's at in that profile, to be honest, because the velocity band is right on with the fastball. But if there's anything to kind of give him credit for, the curveball still looks really good. Spins it really well, low 80s, keeps it down in the dirt, gets a lot of whiffs on it, but that's his best pitch in my opinion. But he's gone from like a potential back end first rounder to could he even be a day one kind of guy at this point?
Yeah, I feel like with Hartle, like it's kind of like a cautionary tale for like other pitchers, especially lefties with like a similar profile, where it's like the command has to be so crisp all the time to really work. And it's like Hartle, it's like you said, Tyler, it's like the command it's not awful, it's not bad. It's just last year it was so good. And it's like just a tiny dip, and it's like the results are just very different. Still a long way to go for him, but I think unfortunately he has dropped to more to that second round range, maybe towards the end of day one.
Yeah, I'd say someone who dropped for me, Tyler and I were kind of talking about him before, shows Ethan Anderson from Virginia. I've seen him twice now live, and everything is just on the ground. He can't get the ball in the air. Not an issue of swing and miss or like making bad swing decisions. He's just not barreling it up, getting it up in there in the loft like he did last year. I mean, his slugging percentage has dropped 200 points this year. And it's just, he's still hitting for a decent average. He's still getting on base. Like the OBP is good. He's got good plate discipline still, but he just cannot get the ball off the ground.
And there's also like the questions of defensively where like this was going to be a big year for him, getting some time behind the plate, and kind of turned out, where he's still playing a lot of first base now. And, how does that affect, his development and his profile at the next level?
Jacob Ferentz has kind of come in and just absolutely been terrorizing pitchers. So he's been disgustingly good behind the plate. For you guys, out of like the top, like say 10 or 15 guys, who's been the biggest faller there and kind of biggest riser there as well?
Nick Kurtz's dad is going to probably text me and give me crap for this, but I think objectively Nick Kurtz is probably the biggest faller out of like the top 10 to 15. Yeah. We didn't really want to like drop him too far because of the fact that, not being pitched too often. Like he came back yesterday and was walked 4 times against not UNCG, but another like local school. They're not nobody's pitching to him, and that's kind of the thing that he's running into some tough luck with getting the ball in play. It's mainly the guys in the field. The power numbers are a bit of concern. So that kind of hampers his value a little bit right now. And then of course we go from saying this is like the best first base defender we've seen since Evan White, and there's been some blunders. We've talked about it before. He's had some mental errors. Then of course, obviously diving for that ball and really giving everybody a scare. Like we mentioned it last show where we're not sure how long he's going to be out. Well, he's back now, but like there is a real possibility he might not have even played the rest of the year if it was a torn labrum. And I think kind of just judging off of what we've seen this year, that's probably drops him a little bit just outside the top 10 for us right now. JJ Weatherholt, yes, he's only played like 4 games and hasn't played in a month, but we've seen what that profile is. It's a 70 hit with robust power from the left side, doesn't sacrifice anything. And he could play shortstop. It's going to be a better defensive value for my buck, at least against Kurtz. But biggest riser, Charlie Condon, Braden Montgomery. Like those two guys have really turned in one hell of a spring. And like I think Charlie Condon's still hitting over 500 at this point. And we're like, what, 25, 30 games into the season already?
Video game numbers at this point for him.
Who put it on easy difficulty for him? I would like to know.
It hasn't changed in SEC play either. So it's not like it's been just bad conferences that he's been just terrorizing.
I don't know if we can ever consider bad with the SEC ever.
He's got a 12-13 slug.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. And a 637 on base percentage to go with that.
And he's playing like 3 different positions too. It's like including third base where he's like never really spent time at. Just I don't see how anyone else could. It's crazy because Braden Montgomery, what he's doing is like, oh my, pretty insane too. Especially the fact that he's moving to the SEC, playing Texas A&M, and he's been excellent. But then when you're competing against Charlie Condon, it's just like, and anything you do is going to look a little bit worse. I also agree with the Kurtz being the one who drops, and like some of it is like you said, Tyler. It's like it's no fault to his own for some of these things. It's like he's has like a 30% walk rate or something right now, like something like insane. He's just not getting pitched to, and that's been benefiting someone like Steve King and Jack Winay and these other guys. But at the end of the day, it's a first base profile, and it's always going to be a bit riskier. And if the power isn't showing up, regardless if you're getting pitched to or not, something you have to consider. Plus, the defensive stuff, and just something. I don't know. Even leading up to that injury, just felt like something wasn't quite right. But maybe sometime at DH, we'll get him back on track, and we'll start seeing some more pitches to crank out.
Yeah. And I think somebody had spoken to me before. Like this was a guy that wasn't getting out at all during preseason play, like scrimmages and whatnot. So I'm hoping at some point there's a turnaround. I would really love it for Nick. Totally not because he's been on the show or anything. He's an extremely nice dude. He's easy to root for. I also did find a little Charlie Condon tidbit just for like having fun here. Charlie Condon, across nearly 200 fastballs seen this year, has only swung and missed at 5 of them.
Wow.
He has 6% whiff rate on fastballs right now.
That's insane.
It's mind blowing.
It's wild.
I was looking up some of his D1 baseball advanced stats too, and he's got a 20% walk rate and a 9.7% K rate.
Yeah.
With a 278 wins run created plus.
I forgot they made that for college baseball.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't even know how to like process that for college sports, but it's fun to look at for sure.
Definitely inflated in some sense, but man, it's nuts. Have there been some new guys that have entered the top 200 that might have not been on your radar in the previous top 100s that you had for college and prep?
I would say prep, maybe like Oh, we had Tyson Lewis before.
Mm.
He was the guy that really jumped up too. Like, going to be in the same range as like Lavonis and Aiden Major in the 40s because it's like at weight, swing looks really good, power's there. This is your classic like Nebraska infielder that's going to turn into a beast because Nebraska has just everything apparently.
Yeah.
But in terms of like some guys that we didn't have before, trying to think like
Cash Mayfield.
Sawyer Cash Mayfield. Yeah, that's a good one.
Go on.
I forgot about him, honestly. Cash Mayfield's got like the easiest 96 I've ever seen, man. With a plus changeup too. There's probably some day one heat on that profile right now. And like Sawyer Black, USC Christian kid from North Carolina here, local kid, turned in a really good spring thus far. He's still got a few big tournaments to go through too. Like Wesleyan's going to be at NHSI in a couple weeks. That's going to be a wild tournament this year because like Seth Hernandez, Ethan Scheifel-Bain, like all of these Cali kids are coming over, and you're going to test them against some of these like more rural schools that don't have a lot of talent. Well, not a lot of talent. This is a really talented field that they have this year, but like the SoCal talent's unreal right now.
Yeah.
And it's also like a lot of guys who have gotten the exposure are more household names versus, guys who don't have that kind of, name recognition, but are, moving up our boards and we're hearing good things about. So it's like, it's good to see those guys stacked up and lined up on the same field for sure.
Absolutely. Plus those fields are beautiful. Shout out USA Baseball, not sponsored by the way. As Recca's wearing, yeah, I'm down. I'm down for a partnership.
Yeah, we'll go out to every USA Baseball tournament and do live podcasts for them.
Oh, there's good place to do live podcasts there, man. I will say.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got a college guy who I think is interesting that we added real late to our board. I actually think you saw him, Jared. Harrison Didowick. And like, I feel like I had to mention him for multiple reasons, but one of them is just the fact that we didn't. I feel like maybe it wasn't just us, but we definitely didn't know that he was even eligible. He's sophomore eligible. Yeah. And like
and Jack Winay.
Yeah, it was just another one. Yeah, it was just, and during this process of making the board, I'm just like, hey, like this guy in Virginia, he's doing pretty good, and says his birthday is like, he's going to be turning 21. Or like, oh yeah, we might want to consider him for the board. We look into him. And it's like, yeah, we gotta get him on here somewhere. So I thought like that was a pretty cool one, and he's been doing great, and he's like 6'4", 215, pretty good bat speed, and has really done well against velocity. So I don't know, just I feel like that's a really cool story and somebody wasn't expecting to be talking about this year for sure.
Yeah, there is a guy that kind of reminds me of Didowick a little bit. Ethan O'Donnell last year. Kind of the same kind of profile.
Yeah, Didowick's got a little bit of swing and miss too. To his game. I say that, but on Saturday he faced Chase Burton, so of course he had some swing and miss that day. But it was kind of the same thing on Sunday, and when I saw him against UMass as well, he didn't strike out as much against UMass, but you can just tell some of the swing decisions aren't quite there. But yeah, definitely some lefty pop and a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, seems like everyone in that lineup is just firing.
They just bang
all cylinders. Yeah. So
year in, year out, dude.
I got a freshman like hitting cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a freshman hitting cleanup, and then I think Godbot's hitting 5th or 6th. Yeah, because I think they go Ford, Didowick, and then Godbout, if I recall. But it's just dumb. Everybody hits, and like Ethan Anderson's hitting 8th in that lineup. So
yeah, that's wild.
That tells you what you need to know there. I mean, Griffith Farrell's been kind of fun to watch, but that guy's just like more of a line drive, singles type hitter. Hasn't really tapped into too much pop. Profile's good. He's like I kind of like look at him as like a Matt Shaw light. Just doesn't have the power, but great barrel skills. Gets a barrel the ball. Good runner. It's fast, plays decent defense. Not a great arm at shortstop, but still a fun profile.
So what I'm hearing is this means that Griff O'Farrell is going to hit a 500-foot tank at the Jack this weekend.
Minus like 150 feet, maybe.
No. It's going to be 500. The wind's going to be blowing out. Trust me, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe he'll get one, though. He's got, 3 home runs this year, I think? So
2 or 3. I remember he hit 2 the opening weekend, and it's really kind of like...
That's actually...
Everybody's like, the pop's there, and then he's like, no, it's not.
Found it. Yeah.
It was there. It is no longer there.
It's like a tease. It's like, hey, I have power. That's the first time you're going to see it, and the last time you're going to see it.
Yeah. Even when I saw him on Sunday against UMass, he didn't hit one out. So
trying to think. Didn't he also didn't hit his first home run last year until Super Regionals?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that was his only one.
So he does have more power, is what we're saying.
Yeah. 3 times as much.
Yeah.
His heart grew 3 sizes on Christmas.
Yeah, Virginia's team's fun on the offensive side. On the pitching side, not so fun. Not a good time.
No.
But
McKay season though. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, is he a freshman or sophomore?
McKay?
Sophomore.
Yeah,
Sophomore. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he? He's not draft eligible this year, is he?
No, next year.
I'm not going to even answer those anymore, Jared.
Yeah.
Last time I told you Jack Winay wasn't, and he was. So
yeah,
I'll let Tyler take care of that for now.
Well,
Tyler, I think told me the same
either.
thing.
I haven't been able to figure it out. I didn't know Jack Winay was eligible until you said something.
Yeah.
Maybe Jack Winay didn't even know.
Maybe, yeah.
He may not have, actually. Yeah.
Could be a TJ Friedel situation where he gets a $800,000 free agent signing bonus because no one had any idea he was draft eligible.
What is it? Also, Malcolm Moore is literally born the day before the deadline, and we were like, "Is he eligible? Is he not? We have no idea. Let's find out."
Yeah. God. Good times. Trying to think of anything else here. So, for you all, out of the top 25, who do you think has the best chance to go number 1 overall? I guess out of the top 25, but the top 3.
Yeah. So Condon or Pizzana, that's probably the only 2 answers to this point, to be honest. Yeah. And that's just saying right now. This is going to all change within the next couple of weeks. For all we know, Jack Hagley is going to go first overall.
Yeah.
As a 2-way guy, and I could see you laughing in depression over there, Jared. But
that mock getting the Royals taking Jack at 6.
Hey, we don't make fun of Jonathan Mayo and Jim Callis in this department, buddy.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying they need to mock him to someone else, please, just for my sake.
For your sake, okay.
Yeah.
Jim or Jonathan, if you're listening to this, please help Jared. Donate $5 of your wallet to help this man not worry about Jack Hagley, being mocked to the Royals on the day of our Lord, March 27th, 2024.
They have made progress in their development side, but trusting the Royals to try to develop a guy on both sides of the ball, I'm not there yet. Yet.
You sound like the guy that called me a clown for saying that I liked the Royals draft picks last year.
I remember that. They said you didn't know what you were talking about.
I do remember that.
You said that the Royals had a good draft. You didn't say they had a great draft, but you said it was a high upside, good draft.
Yeah, and I'm a glass half full kind of clown, to be honest. So
the best kind.
Yeah, it's not like you've been watching every single draft prospect basically all year, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a wild take, to be honest.
Yeah, Royals fans were just mad at the draft because they didn't take Kyle Teal.
You know what?
To be fair,
as a New Jerseyan, I have to agree with that take, to be honest.
Well, all the rumors were coming out that they were linked to Teal, and so everybody was expecting Teal to get taken at 6 by the Royals.
To defend that pick, there is maybe a bit more upside with Mitchell, but if Teal's there, kind of take him. But Blake Walters has turned into what he's throwing 100
why they
now.
took Blake Mitchell.
Yeah,
and it's also their whole draft isn't revolved just around that one pick.
Carson Roccaforte.
Exactly. They got Hero Wyatt. They got Hunter Owen a lot later because, you know, he had injury things, like that could be an upside pick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they did pretty well, like considering, you know, when you take into account the rest of their draft, like just focusing on just that one pick and calling it a failure, just like very close.
Well, the year before that, they went like complete slot with Gavin Cross and then Caden Wallace. So, and that turned out, we know, not so great.
Hey, Gavin Cross is over his Rocky Mountain fever or whatever he had.
Yeah. So
I
he's
really
not going
hope
to
he
strike
gets
out 37% of the time next year. Just kidding. It wasn't that high, but
it may have been that high. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was over 30 for sure.
Yeah.
Gavin Cross, if you're listening to this, we hope you improve this year. We really do.
We're pulling for you. And Caden Wallace is going to be like a below average third baseman. Maybe average. If you get lucky.
Nothing wrong with average.
Gives me a lot of Emmanuel Rivera vibes, who was also a Royal.
He was a Royal? I didn't know that.
Okay.
Who?
We're not going to get into an Emmanuel Rivera discussion because Royals fans also
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole that Tyler here is too young to really understand.
Well, he's like got traded 2 years ago.
D-backs, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, Jared.
One other guy I wanted to touch on is William Schmidt. I know he's been making some noise and jumping up draft boards. Tyler, what do you got on him?
Hashtag good.
Yeah.
Can we go with that? To be honest, with Schmidt, this was a guy that like last year at PDP was coming out like 90-94 with really good ride on the fastball, and then obviously the near 70 grade hammer that he has for a curveball. So you can tell there's like the raw stuff is there. The loud raw pitch mix is there. He's got a changeup he's been working on. It's really athletic. And now he's bumping 98 with, you know, like I said, the near 70 grade curveball. The changeup looks really good. I would say you put a cutter or something in that profile and it's a wrap. It's done.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the first prep arm off the board. It's like it's super projectable. Like I said, really athletic. And he's bumping eights with a ton of vertical carry and big depth on the curveball. So it's kind of like that Justin Campbell thing where like Justin Campbell had like 35 inches of vertical separation between his fastball and curveball when he was drafted, which granted that hasn't really panned out all that well because of injuries, but like that kind of stuff will pop out to a scout. I had somebody there, I think it was a Marlins scout, that said that's a first rounder right there. And now that we've gotten to the start of the year, it's like, yeah, it's a first rounder. So William Schmidt, William Schmidt's going to be in the top 20 on our board. So that's going to be really, really fun. He's one of my favorite arms in this class.
Yeah. I feel like for him, it's like just like in general, like so few high school pitchers get taken anymore, I feel. But like the ones who do, they, you know, William Schmidt checks a lot of the same boxes, and like just, you know, from the stuff, like the present stuff, projection size, all that. And it's just like, yeah, just makes sense that like this would be the number one high school arm potentially, at least for righties in this class. He's shown everything to get to that point.
I love it. Now that we're about 30 minutes of the show, I think we should go into our next segment. We're going to go on the clock. We're going to do a top 200 on the clock. I'm going to start pitting some of these guys against each other, and you're going to have to pick one or the other if you're a Major League Baseball team. So first one is Chase Burns versus Hagen Smith. Who are you going? I know where they are in the ranks. That doesn't necessarily mean you're taking that as a team.
That's fair. Are me and Recca are both allowed to answer this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Recca, you're the guys. Go first.
Chase Burns. Chase Burns. Yeah, it's Chase Burns for me. I mean, it's kind of like the same story with both of these guys, where it's like this is pro stuff. Like this is stuff that you see late in games, you know, starting games. I know, like it seems like hyperbole to like put him in the same conversation as Paul Skeens, but like the level of stuff is similar, like to what we saw with Paul Skeens. Now, Skeens did it for a full year, you know, he did it against great competition, yada yada yada. But right now, Chase Burns is on that level for me, and Yeah, the progression he showed from last year to this year, I just think is incredible, and that's my guy.
Love it.
Yep, covered it. Chase Burns.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like Hagen Smith's going to have the advantage for being a southpaw.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, sorry, I had to send something there. Chase Burns' stuff is just ridiculous right now. I think I mentioned it before, like a near 80 grade fastball, a 70 grade slider. With Hagen, you'd probably go like 60, but just with pure stuff, Chase Burns.
Yeah.
Welcome to the top 5 picks.
I talk about this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Recca.
Oh, sure. So I feel like for pretty much any team, whoever ends up picking them, they immediately become their best pitching prospect in their system. Like, you can't go wrong with either of these guys at the level they're performing right now. And they both look like guys who can get to the major leagues real quickly and compete. So, I mean, it's, I'm choosing Burns here, but there's arguments for Smith that can be made. And at the end of the day, it's a great choice to be having for whoever team is on the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned this on one of the other podcasts, and I've talked to Tyler about it, but when Chase Burns threw the 3 straight sliders to Griff O'Farrell, and Griff just stood there at all 3 of them. Granted, the shadows were terrible, but it was just absolutely disgusting. They were painted every single time. Like, this stuff is just unbelievable. It's hard to not go with him 1-1. The next one I'm going with here, let's see. We're going to go, I got asked this question earlier today, so I'm going to go with this one. Nick Kurtz or Jack Caglianone if Jack is only hitting?
Kurtz.
Yeah. That's
where I'm going to go Kurtz on that. Yeah, because the plate discipline is just eons above what Caglianone's is. We mentioned it, like the ridiculous walk rate that Nick Kurtz has. Jack is he's improved about the ball. I'll give Jack credit in terms of like the contact rates are better. He's still chasing at like a 35-40% clip. And that's just not it for me. I'm not a guy that's gonna that kind of translates to when you get to Double A. It's like, how are you gonna do that against more advanced stuff? I think Tommy White kind of falls into that same demographic of like, about the ball is good, but like you're chasing everything. Once the stuff gets better, how's that going to play?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What about you, Recca?
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, Cags does pitch, so that would that does obviously change things. But I mean, Kurtz was in the conversation for me. In that top, he was in our top 3. It was someone we were like, oh, would you feel bad about taking him first? And I think all of us were like, no. Despite what's happened since then, he still has that upside, and he's still a guy I really like. So I'll stick with him.
Love it. All right,
Nick Kurtz used to pitch. Nick Kurtz used to pitch.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a high. His so his perfect game profile photo was actually him pitching on like a backfield mound at the high school he went to, I think. So like, I think Nick Kurtz could probably still pitch pretty well at this point.
That's what the Royals will do with Austin Charles when he can't figure out how to hit.
You mean when Hunter Pence Light decides to stop hitting? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do the high school version of Hagen Smith versus Chase Burns. We're going to go Cam Caminiti versus William Schmidt.
Oh.
I figured you were going to be easy Schmidt on this.
No, I think Caminiti on this one. Caminiti is holding like 96, 97 deep in the outings.
Yeah,
he's a lefty. He has bloodlines.
17.
He's also going to be really, really young. He's got the advantage on there for me, just on those alone. I think he kind of ditches one of the curveball or slider at some point because the spins. Obviously, Smith is not end all be all, but there's been some concerns about how well he spins the ball. But having that kind of fastball, like. And all the intangibles in there too. I think with Schmidt is more of a development project. Caminiti is going to be kind of right out the gate. Like, here's 98. Have fun hitting it.
Gotta love that. Recca, about same for you.
I so it's just like a personal thing for me. Like I don't know, high school guys that like don't have the kind of like the breaking ball spinability feel, whatever you want to call it, kind
Yeah.
of give me a little like a little concern, like like is it ever going to come? Because some guys it really just doesn't. Jared Kelly, enters the chat. So I'm going to stick with Schmidt, but again, it's super close. Argument both ways. That's just like a personal preference thing for me. I'll take the righty with the spin in this case.
Love it. All right, we're gonna go two college arms now. Gonna go Luke Holman or Ben Hess.
Ooh.
Two guys that have been kind of on the rise.
I know what I'm going with. I feel like Tyler, I know what you're going to say too. I'm going Ben Hess, 100%. I mean, Tyler, you wrote like an incredible article about Ben Hess and what his season could look like, and so far so good, on that front. So I don't know. I'm a believer. You turned me into a Ben Hess believer. I like Luke Coleman a lot. He's really like exceeded my expectations in a lot of ways, but yeah, I don't know. I just want the big horse, man. Give me Ben Hess.
Yeah, that frame is fun. That's something to build on.
6'5", 255.
Yeah,
I like my defensive ends on the mound, man. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's Hess for me, just in terms of pure stuff. Holman's kind of just been like that fastball slider kind of guy. Hasn't really used the curveball much, and I don't really know if he's used the splitter much at all this year.
Yeah,
but it's somebody mentioned this to me the other day. It's like a Christian Javier kind of arsenal where the fastball can play up from the velo it has with the jump that it possesses. The slider is kind of in that same fold as well with Javier's slider. So I think Holman's got that for him going, and I think he might end up being a more safe pick. But with Ben Hess, I think the thing with Ben Hess is the fact that he's not going deeper than like 5 innings a game right now. I don't know if that's just pitch count or if he's just struggling and laboring like he did against Tennessee a little bit. But in terms of pure stuff, like Hess has been up to 99 with a fastball that is pretty close to what Dolander's has been, with just like a slight increase in vertical approach angle. The curveballs looked really good this year. The sliders kind of made a bit of a stride. I would probably go Hess, but it's pretty close for me. A lot closer than I thought it would ever be.
Yeah. Holman's really like just not come out of nowhere, but just started as a Saturday guy. Easily took over the Friday night spot. It's just been impressive.
Imagine if Holman stayed at Alabama too.
Yeah,
that would be a good rotation, especially with Riley Quick out of the equation there.
Yeah. All right, I'm going two big power outfielders: James Tibbs III or Dakota Jordan. Making these hard on you.
Yeah, these are good. I think this might have been the best one for me.
Yeah,
I really would have to think about it a lot. Do you know which way you're going, Tyler, or should I?
I'll go first.
Sure.
I might go. I think you could go either way. I would say Dakota Jordan at this point because I think the power speed combination is going to outweigh what Tibbs carries. I think Tibbs is more of like hit power, but do you know where he's playing defensively? I'll have to find out when I watch more film. I've heard he could be a plus arm in right field. It could stay there. I've also have heard like he could be a left fielder at the next level. Dakota Jordan's going to be a center fielder with the speed that he has. And yes, he's not hitting, but also at the same time, if you have like 70 grade power like that, your swing decisions become so much easier because you know what you have at your disposal.
Yeah.
So for me, I think in that case, with Jordan being a certified center fielder, I would lean Jordan, but Tibbs is making a very good case at this point. Like, if he actually is somebody that can stay in right field with a plus arm, James Tibbs is going to be one of the most underrated outfielders in this class because the bat is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd probably lean more towards Tibbs personally. I think a lot of it is because I don't know. I have a little bit more history with him. Dakota Jordan, was a draft eligible sophomore, and Tibbs was excellent his first 2 years at Florida State, and
Yeah.
then we heard. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I feel like pretty much everyone we talked to that saw him on the Cape came away pretty impressed and or felt that he was better than they expected um, going into the summer, and that has carried over like in the most extreme way possible. I mean, I think he's still in single digit strikeouts for the year,
Mm-hmm.
and he's hitting for even more power, and he's not playing first base anymore. I don't know. That's just somebody who I've been able to kind of see the progression, so I just feel more confident, taking him personally. But the Dakota Jordan, hype is real, and some of the things he does on the baseball field are just that can't be taught. It's
Yeah.
just pure athleticism, strength, physicality, whatever you want to call it. And it seems like he's also becoming more of a baseball player in the process too, which is, the kind of everything just coming together at the right time.
Yeah. Gotta love that. This next one I'm gonna do just to call Tyler out mostly and make him have to choose because these profiles don't make sense to put against each other, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Josh Hartle or Michael Massey. So I know he's had a great time watching both of them, so I'm just gonna throw that one out there.
Recca, go first, please.
This is actually really tough for me too, because I'll be honest, I've probably been on the lower side for Massey
Mm-hmm.
heading into this year, for sure. And Hartle, I was probably a little higher on than some people, and now Hartle has kind of moved back. So I don't know how I feel about this. I think with Massey, I just have trouble projecting it to the starting rotation.
Yeah.
And was he in the rotation last weekend, or he was removed or something? So I don't know what's going on with
He was
that.
hurt when I saw Wake versus Virginia. Hayden LeFew got the start. Massey was hurt and skipped that weekend. Did he come back last weekend?
Yeah, he pitched 2 innings against Louisville Saturday. He had a back hamstring issue from what I heard.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would take Massey just because, the stuff still plays. And if Hartle, if it's going to be 89, like you said, 89, 91, it's really hard to make that work in the major leagues these days in any role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll take Massey, but it's it's real close. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you probably
Tyler.
saw me in the background of this trying to debate on laid back in my chair all the way back here. Who do I go with? I think I'm Massey too.
Yeah.
Just I understand. Yes, it could be a reliever at the end of the day, but we've mentioned it before already. It in the show, what kind of value can you get out of Hartle's profile at this point with where he's coming from, what he's already, kind of, he hasn't really taken that jump forward that we've wanted him to do for 4 or 5 years at this point, unfortunately.
Essentially.
And Massey with the fastball and slider, he, even in that outing against Duke, Massey still had 7 to 8 swings and misses on the fastball, and the slider still looked pretty good until his command went away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a reliever, but I think you can probably get some more upside out of that profile. So I think at the end of the day, it's Massey, but that one's probably still a little bit too close to call with how much we have left in the year, and Hartle could all of a sudden decide to turn into 2023 Hartle.
Yeah. Love it. All right, I got two more. We're gonna go an SEC matchup of third basemen here, and then we're gonna go two Virginia guys, just because those are the guys I've seen the most. We're gonna go Colby Shelton and Billy Amick. Who we going?
That one's got to be Amick, I think.
Oh man,
I think that's Amick for me.
Two transfers to the SEC too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, Shelton was great in the SEC, to be honest.
Well, yeah, he was with Alabama, but
yeah, I think the biggest thing with this is like Shelton's definitely shown more fluidity in the field. Is probably the best way to describe it. Like he's played shortstop and he's not like a chunky kind of athlete. It's pretty mobile, but Billy Amick's turned in 70 grade power. Yes, he's a free swinger. He's chasing at a high rate. The bat the ball is obviously not there, but like that power is ridiculous. And he's kind of shown that, hey, I can play some third base here and kind of project to stay there a little bit. I even think somebody even said like kind of compared him to Cam Smith a little bit. I think Cam Smith's a way different hitter than what Billy Amick is at this point. Like Billy Amick, like I said, free swinger, swings like 50% of the time, chases a lot. Cam Smith doesn't do that a lot anymore now. Like the approach change he had on the Cape has translated this year, and he looks a lot better as a result of it. So I think at the end of the day, Amick here, and it was easier for me, but I'd like to hear what you got on that one, Recca.
That's a really tough one. Entering the year, like it's kind of like a similar story with like Dakota Jordan, Colby Shelton for me, because it's like, he's draft eligible sophomore, so it's like how much was I really paying attention to him at his first year? I know he hit a lot of home runs, but it's like I was just so surprised with like Tyler said, like how well he moves and stuff. He's a lot more athletic, like at least watching streams, broadcasts, whatever. I was really surprised by that. And then you factor in, the fact that, he hit 25 home runs as, freshman. And, it's interesting. Like if you look at his, like, just like his box score stats from like this year to last year, it's like he's on like almost an identical pace. It's like actually kind of wild. And he's playing shortstop. He's, I don't think he's a shortstop long term, but when we first heard about that, Tyler, we were like, shortstop? Like, are you kidding? Like, are they out of their mind? Like, what happened there? And it's like, well, no, like this actually works. So I really like Shelton, and like he's really, just somebody who's like really, been impressive for me. But I would have to go with Amick. I think like it just the overall profile that he has, like the power hitting, slugging third baseman, and just kind of works a little better for me. And he has, looked a lot better, at third base than I expected as well. He's made some really, really, stellar plays at third. And again, like I think moving to the Tennessee SEC and really carrying over the production, is feather in his cap. And yeah, I think I have to go Amick because of that. But again, pretty damn close.
Yeah. Probably know the direction I'm going with this last one. Ethan Anderson or Casey Saki.
Did you wait until after this weekend for me to answer this question?
No.
I see them this weekend, man.
I've seen them twice, 3 times already. So you already know my opinion on this one.
Do I, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you left before Casey Saki hit that game-tying home run, so I don't want to hear it.
I had a 2.5-hour drive home.
I know. I'm just giving you crap. I don't know. My gut still tells me Anderson, but Saki's really turned the corner for me. This was a guy last year that we weren't sure how much he was going to hit and how much power he was going to hit for because his bat the ball skills weren't the greatest. But now he's kind of turned that corner to where his power is playing in game. He's been a corner outfielder. He might move back to the infield because he was a third baseman coming to college.
That arm is insanely good.
Yes. Like, it's not Braden Montgomery good, but it's up there for me.
Yeah.
I think at this point, if Anderson might be landlocked at first base, I think Salke's the way to go here. We can talk about this next podcast when I have more thoughts on this, but I think now is Salke for me.
Ethan Anderson's gonna go like 10 for 15 with 4 home runs, something crazy, and you're gonna be like, yeah, definitely Anderson.
Yeah, he's not hitting the ball into the ground now, Jared.
Yeah,
I saw home runs with my own eyes.
What about you, Recca?
I think I'm going to stick with Ethan Anderson. I don't know. Like, I still think he's gonna hit personally.
The approach is good. Like, there's nothing wrong with his approach at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, we did see power last year, and even if it's not impact power at the next level, he's also not somebody who's just empty batting average. And I don't know, switch hitter. Maybe he's a catcher. I don't know. I think Tyler's going to see some good things this weekend, personally. But I mean, Salke's been really good too. But I'll stick with Anderson for now.
Tyler, give me your take on Jacob Ferentz when you get to see him too. That guy's been fun.
Jacob Ferentz?
Yeah,
he's like
I can do that.
He's like 23.
Yeah, he's old.
You're old. Yeah, it's a good story.
Isn't he like a what, D2 transfer or something?
Yeah, it wasn't D1. It was lower. Yeah, but
it's just a fun story more than oh, this guy's gonna get drafted real high.
I mean, who knows? But it'll be he's got to hit the whole way. But either way, cool story. Hope he keeps it up.
Yeah. Well, that does it for us for the top 200 boards. But before we go, Tyler, when is that board dropping?
Either going to be Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
Like I said, we are just finalizing the last blurb. And it's been a real team effort. Like, Recca's done an incredible job putting everything together and really helping out. Patrick's done a good job. Blake even joined us for that first call, and I know he's been super busy with school and all the other stuff he's got going on. Will as well. I'm excited for people to see this. This has been a long time in the making, and I'm really excited to kind of have like a finally a combined board instead of like two separate ones that we have to put 2 days of tweets into. To be honest.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this podcast, since it drops at 6 a.m., you might get a little sneak preview of the board. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple of days. We have a couple interviews coming up with guys. I think we're going to have Caleb Bonham on here soon. We're going to have Auburn's pitching coach, Everett Tiford. So we'll be back with some more interviews. No interview this week. But until next time, we will see you.